What up? What up? What up? Today on the Lean Life podcast, we're going to talk about a fundamental to happiness, something that you could take away right now and start using. It'll make you 10, 20, 50, 100% happier. Welcome to Leading Life, the show all about living to the fullest and leading life on your terms.
You will learn tips, tools, and strategies for achieving total personal transformation.
I'm Bren.
And I'm Cam.
This is Leading Life. Hello, and welcome to the Leading Life podcast. Super fun to be back. We just got done the weekend. What happened this weekend, Cam? We had Christmas dinners and stuff, getting together for the holidays with the family and friends, getting gifts, buying gifts for people, sharing the love. Just a pretty cool holiday. But Monday, it's like my favorite day of the week. I'm ready to get back in this podcast, have some cool convos with my bro. How you doing, man? What are you up to?
Doing really good, man. Very good. Christmas was a blast, as always. And I'm excited for New Year's, dude. In January, I'm launching a comedy podcast. I just announced it today. It's been in the works for a while, but I just announced it. So I'm really excited about that. The New Year's is going to be epic. Lots of laughs, lots of accomplishments. And I actually just got, what did I get for Christmas from Julie Ross? I got to say thanks to Julie Ross and her family. They gave me a 90-day improvement plan or something along those lines. And it's just like this 90-day thing where every day you're trying to improve. I don't know. I didn't actually look too into it. But do you remember the author, Brennan? I forget who it was.
Yeah, it was a John Maxwell book. I got one too. It's cool. It's like a 90-day journal. You just journal for 90 days.
Exactly, yeah. And I'm excited to start that on January 1st. So that'll kind of kickstart the year. I don't know. It's easier. Like I've heard, like psychologically, starting things at the beginning of the month or the beginning of the week or whatever, it gives you like a boost for some reason. I don't know the specifics, but I would utilize that if you're planning on starting a new habit or something. Start it on Monday, start it on the 1st of the month, something along those lines, or even January 1st. But I mean, we should probably have another episode about the New Year's resolution, how to stick to it and that kind of stuff. But today, what are we talking about?
Yeah, man, that's coming up soon, very soon. We're going to be hitting the new year. A ton of people are going to be looking to make changes in their lives. Change things, improve things, make resolutions, set goals, create new habits. So I'm excited about that. But today is not necessarily about that. Today is pretty much about happiness. And the reason I think happiness is so important to talk about right now is because I believe happiness to be one of the number one keys to productivity. If you want to be productive, if you want to get stuff done in an effective and efficient way, the best way to do it is to enjoy yourself while you're doing it, to enjoy the process. There's many ways, many reasons why that works. When you're enjoying the process, when you are, you're having fun in the moment. Maybe you're at work washing dishes. Washing dishes is a great example because not a lot of people like washing dishes, right? Holidays, we just had a big dinner washing the dishes. It's so important to have fun while dishes. Maybe you could put some music in. Maybe you could, dance or sing or have a conversation with a friend while you're doing dishes. But it's so important because if you're having more fun, you're going to get it done faster. Your time's going to go by faster because you're enjoying the process. You guys know how time just flies when you're having fun. And it's just an overall better process. I mean, everything we do in life is pretty much to be happy, right? Most of the time, we're always conspiring to be happier. We're doing things, we're eating food to be happy. We're going to hang out with friends to be happy. We're working this job to make money so that we could take care of our families or that we could live a life that is happy. And so today we're going to talk about one of the fundamentals, like the fundamental, you could call it the first step. It's like the pillar of happiness. So I'm excited to get into that, man. You have anything else to add to that before we really get into the how? I mean, in terms of what is this fundamental to happiness and why it's so important.
Well, you said acceptance, right? And I feel like what really makes people unhappy is attachment to the past or attachment to the future or attachment to an event that happened. Like, I'm holding a grudge, or because this happened, I can never be happy for the rest of my life. And I'm still thinking of this. And even if I'm having a good time, this is still on my mind and it's ruining me, that kind of thing. And I think what we want to do is help people become a little bit more present and less focused on the past, focused on things that aren't happening right now. Prime example is like people who talk about people. Like, if they're not in the room, then why are you talking about them? Unless you're like, dude, I just learned this amazing thing from this person. Otherwise, you shouldn't be talking about them if they're not in the room. It's a waste of your time.
Yeah, so that's you just said it, Kim. That is the one of the fundamentals to just being living a happier life and enjoying yourself is acceptance. And what I mean by that is you're learning to accept things just for the way they are. I mean, there's so much I find in today's world, there's so much motivation stuff that's telling you, you know, you could do anything, you could change anything, everything is possible. And I truly believe that. I'm one of those motivation junkies who loves those motivational videos. I love learning and growing and sharing this kind of information with people, you know, putting stuff online, putting stuff out there that encourages people and you know, shows people that this is a beautiful life. But I'm trying to get at here is acceptance is you cannot be happy if you're living in resistance to something that you cannot change. I mean, there's two types of things in the world, right? There's things that we cannot change, and there's things that we can change. So a lot of things that we cannot change, like, okay, Trump just won the presidential election in the United States. Okay, well, I personally, there's nothing I could do to change that from where I'm in Canada. Like, I don't even vote. So for me to get upset or for me to get worked up or for me to get stressed out or for me to, you know, create resistance with what has happened there, all it's going to do is create sadness and pain and suffering within me. And so that's why it's so important to just accept things for the way they are. This is something I'm learning every single day. I'm not perfect at just being vulnerable and open here. Like, I'm really not. But I want to bring it up on the podcast because that's what this show is for. This show is for having conversations about things that we want to improve on. This show is about learning tips, tools, and strategies to lead your life towards the direction you want. Cam, man, I know you have a lot to say about this because we've had conversations about this before. But tell me a little bit. Talk about like how the difference between things you can change and the things you can't change, and how to kind of find that distinction so that you can make better decisions and live a happy life in that sense.
Yeah, like I want people to also realize that when I say like you got to realize that you can change things when you can. You know what I mean? A lot of people, they think they can't change it, so they give up on it. When a lot of the time you actually can change this, so keep going, keep persisting, and like finish it. I'll give a few examples. A big one is like my dad is a prime example. He didn't do anything wrong. He slipped on ice a few years ago and broke his leg or something along those lines, and he couldn't walk for at least a year and a half or something like that. And he could have took that experience and said, all right, for the next year and a half, my life's going to suck and I'm going to hate my life and I'm just going to keep looking forward to the future and hating the present, and I'm going to take drugs, I'm going to watch TV all day, I'm going to be lazy, I'm going to do everything I can to distract myself from what's actually happening. When in reality, like, you can't change it. You can't go back in time and like not slip on ice. So just realize that what you can change always, basically always, is the way you look at something. That's what you can change. So he could easily look at it as an opportunity to spend more time at home with the family, or an opportunity to even sit at home and like create something. He can create art. He can he can, you know, get his goals straight. He can read books while he's sitting down. Like, there's so many other things he can do. He can meditate. There's a lot of things that you can do with a broken leg. Just because you can't play sports for a year doesn't mean your life's ruined. You can make the best out of it. So, and I really love what, I think it was Wayne Dyer's mentor, I forget his name, but he said, worry is something that shouldn't exist. If you can change it, if you can affect this, like if this issue of, you know, you break your leg, if you can change the fact that you break your leg, if you can go back in time, then there's nothing to worry about. If you can go back in time, there's still nothing to worry about. So literally, worry just shouldn't exist. If you can change it, stop worrying. If you can't change it, stop worrying, right? And that goes with, I don't know if you guys know anybody who just complains about things that are their fault. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you know what, I have all this homework and I'm gonna fail the test. It's like, no offense, man, but it's your fault. Like, you did it. There's no point in complaining. It's in your control to turn that around. Either that, or you're gonna fail and you're gonna have to go back and just do it again. Quit complaining. They're like, it kind of really bugs me a little bit. Obviously, it doesn't bug me anymore. I couldn't care less. But it used to really, really bug me when people just complain all the time about things they can change, about things that they have caused. Like, my dad is a prime example again. Love you, Dad. But recently, he's kind of let his health go. He's been starting eating junk food and stuff. And he got really sick. I'm just like, and he's complaining about being sick. And you did it to yourself, man. You put the gun to your head. You pulled the trigger. Like, that's a little intense of an example, but you know what I mean. He did it to himself. So there's no reason for him to complain. All he can do is make sure that never happens ever again. The people in the Nazi concentration camps, the ones who survived, were people who saw a future. People who saw something good out of this. And the good thing was they were going to survive and make sure it never happens again. Sometimes shitty things will happen in your life, but what you can do is make the best out of it. The Nazi concentration camp, that's like the prime example, because that is a place where there is no hope. Like, you're basically, seems very certain at that point. Like, everyone around you is dying. What do you have to look forward to when you're in a Nazi concentration camp? Some people, though, are born optimists. Some people have just been optimists and they're there, and like, they can handle that and they can take on any challenge. Even if they see death all around them, they can still see the light at the end of the tunnel and get through it. So what I'm saying is there's two options. You can either change the situation or you can't change it. But with those two options, you can always change the way you look at something. You can always change how happy you are. And that's what makes people really, really at peace. That's what peace is. It's like every weight, every responsibility, every grudge, every negative charge you have in your body, you just like let it go. Like, I don't care that this guy called me names. I don't care that this guy's spreading rumors about me. I don't care that this person ruined my career. I don't know what it is for you. Just let it go. Like, once you let it go, I think they call it emotional intelligence. That's what Hal Elrod calls it. It's being able to accept things the second they happen. Like this puppy, I'm watching a puppy, he shit on the floor. Second it happened, I'm like, alright, I'm gonna have to clean this up. Let's do it. And I cleaned it up. Alright, and I sang a song while I did it. Alright, and I enjoyed the process. But like, you just have to accept things when they happen. Alright? He was drinking water and he spilt it all over the place. I was like, alright, let's clean it up now. And I'm gonna make sure that doesn't happen again. I'm gonna make sure I like hold the bowl or something, you know, like shitty things happen for a reason too, guys. You can learn from them. Alright? Once you fall off your longboard once, you never fall the same way. Maybe more than twice. You never fall the same way. Like, you put your leg in the weird position and it makes you flip backwards. Because it scared the shit out of you and because you feel so much pain because of it, it'll never happen again. Like, your muscles won't let it happen. And that, you needed that. Because every skater knows, like, you have to fall to learn. That's just how it is. And eventually, you enjoy falling. It's like, yeah, bring it on. It won't really hurt because I know exactly how to put my arms in a position and roll rather than, like, to grind my face off the pavement. So there's a bunch of examples. Try and find examples in your life and use this tactic.
Yeah, man, you said it. Like, there's only two options. Something happens, and this is what's really having this mindset, this perspective has completely changed my life, man. It's like something happens, you get slapped in the face, you fall off your skateboard, whatever. You know, someone in your family dies, someone you love dearly leaves you, your heart is broken, something happens in your life. And what's changed my life is realizing that it's not what happens to you that determines your life. It's the meaning you make of that situation that determines your life. Right? Like, let's use the example of somebody getting a divorce, right? Like, that's super simple example where it's like a couple, they love each other, great, they're having, you know, an amazing life, sure, it's great, but out of nowhere, you know, things aren't working anymore and they divorce. Now, one of the people in the couple might be thinking like, oh no, this is terrible, like my life's over, there's so many negative things about this, and then they dwell on it. And they fail to accept the situation, and as a result they create suffering within themselves. The other person might be thinking, wow, I can't wait. I'm so excited that we're finally divorced because now there's all this freedom. There's all these other options. There's all this other life to experience. You could use this in the sense of somebody who's passed away, right? You can't change that situation. You just can't change somebody's passed away. All you could really do is accept that situation and create a meaning for yourself. And basically, the case I'm trying to make here, guys, is for everything that happens, you create what it means. It's going to mean something different to you than what it means to me. And it's going to mean something different to Cameron. We got like almost 8 billion people on this planet. Okay. If World War III started right now, there'd be 8 billion different opinions on it. There'd be 8 billion different feelings generated about the situation. There'd be 8 billion different perspectives and different meanings. And that's a huge distinction to make. And the most amazing thing about that is you create that meaning. You create it. Like, oftentimes our nervous system, our subconscious mind is going to automatically come up with something for us. That's just a survival mechanism. But at the end of the day, you get to decide whether or not this is something that's going to benefit your life or whether it's something that's going to be a detriment to your life. And so realizing what you can change, what you can't change, and then consciously deciding what it's going to mean for you. That's been such a huge game changer, guys. I can't even express it because look, I used to just point the blame at everybody. I used to complain and point the blame at my parents, point the blame at school, point the blame at society, point the blame at the government, point the blame at the corporations. Like, I was always like just pointing at people like, it's your fault my life sucks. As you're the reason, this has happened. You're the reason I feel this way. And all I'm doing there is I'm distributing my power. Here, you have power over the way I feel about this. You have power over the way I feel about that. And you have my power here. It's like, dude, take the power back and decide what it's going to mean for you instead of blaming people and complaining and pointing fingers. And look, I only say this, guys, with so much passion because a big part of my life, that's all I did was I was, basically looking externally for reasons why my life was the way I was. Looking outside, looking to my parents, looking to the government, looking to society for answers to why my life was the way it was. When the truth was, look, if I search inside, if I look into my mindset, if I look into my habits and the way I act, the way I perform, what I do on a daily basis, that's going to completely change the game. It's just going to completely change the way I live my life because it all starts with the inner game. It all starts with who you are on the inside, and then you go from the outside from there. Cam, man, acceptance. Give me an example of something that perhaps you had to accept recently that might have been a little bit painful. Maybe you didn't want to accept it, but after you did, you realized, okay, that was the right thing to do. Like, everything's going to be okay. I mean, other than the dog pooping on the ground.
It's hard to find a big example. I'm trying to think. Because I seem to have a lot of luck with things. But I did this not long ago. I broke my friend's ukulele. My bad. But the second it happened, I was like, obviously, for a few minutes, I was kind of like, oh, dang, I don't know what I'm going to do. But then I accepted it. It's as simple as that. Honestly, it's a muscle, guys. Like, once you do it over and over again, it'll be easy to accept things. You'll realize, like, can't go back in time. I'm wasting my time dwelling. I'm wasting my time complaining. Like, it's like people, oh, your sports team lost. Like, what are you doing? Like, it's not even your sports team. It's a bunch of other human beings you've never met playing sports on behalf of your happiness. And if they lose, like, you know what I mean? It's like, it's crazy. So just realize, like, you have the control to get, like, you have the control, but you're giving it to other people, like Brennan said. And it is a muscle. Like, there was a meditation, I mentioned this before in another episode, but I did a meditation, and it's like a 6-phase meditation. One of the phases is forgiveness, like taking somebody you hate or somebody who's done awful things to you and your family or whoever you know, or awful things at all, whatever. You take an awful person that you have a negative charge with, and you put them in front of you, and you say, I'm sorry, and then you ask for forgiveness, and you give them a hug, and, like, you go about your day. Like, you're now relieved of that negative charge, that kind of thing. And a few months into this meditation, I realized I no longer had any negative charge towards anybody. Like I ran out of negative charge people. Like, and even if people do awful things to me again, it's like, man, like for somebody to do such a bad thing, they're probably not the happiest person. They're probably going through a lot, and I feel for them. That's about it. And even if they are just like the worst person, I laugh at their existence and I walk away. So not only is them being awful makes me laugh, makes me smile, and then I walk away. I forget about them. Like it's a waste of my time. So I love how Tony Robbins uses the example of like your mental party. Like you're at a party and you leave the party with a few friends. One friend is like, dude, that was the best party I've ever been to in my life. Another guy was like, dude, that was a really like awful party. Did you see those guys fighting? And then another guy's like, man, that was an emotional experience. I saw these two people like come together and they haven't met in like years or whatever. And like those are three people who experienced three different like perceptions at the same party. Right? So like the party didn't change, just people were focusing on different things. So instead of focusing on people you hate, focus on people you love and you will feel better. All right? Like eliminate hatred instantly. But like I said, it does take time and eventually it'll be automatic. As with optimism. Like I'm naturally an optimistic person because it's just automatic for me. So
Yeah, buddy. That's the thing is once you practice something like this, it becomes automatic. Like at first, man, it was a challenge for me because my automatic response, like you guys know this, I've talked about this before. I used to just be a very like angry, like not like rageous, like rah, but like I used to be like an angry, kind of frustrated person a lot of the time. Um, and what helped me let go of that anger and frustration and honestly sadness and depression, that's really where the anger and frustration was coming from. It was coming from the sadness that I had inside. And once I just come to accept things, man, the way they are. Like an example for me, okay, I wanted to be a freaking rock star like my whole life. All like I wanted to be at the front of the stage, just rocking out, just like feeling the energy, the power of the electric guitar, the loud drums, just big crowd screaming, just rah. And that was my dream for a long time, and it still kind of is. I still really want to, pursue that and attain that one day. But when I was younger, I was super urgent about it. When I was like 16, I was like, all right, yo, I'm 16 years old. I need to make this happen right now. Because if I don't make it happen now, it will never happen. Because look, there's people like if you want to be a star today, you have to be like the age of Justin Bieber. You got to be Justin Bieber's age, right? So I had this weird irrational thinking or thought process. But when Cameron quit the band, I know you guys know this, I was in the band with Cameron. And the one day he quit completely unexpected. Right after one of our not big tours, right after one of our tours that hadn't gone exactly as planned. And for the first 20 days of that experience, I was so messed up inside. I couldn't accept it. I just could not accept the situation that what we had done was over. And I mean, look, maybe I could have just not accepted it. Maybe I could have just, maybe I could have just not accepted it, and maybe I could have just kept going on with the band and got a new drummer and then going on from there, right? But instead, I decided, okay, I'm just going to accept that this chapter of our life is over. It's done. And I need to move on and I need to do something else. And when I finally accepted that, dude, it was like pressing the reset button on life. It was like being reborn. I don't know if you hear people talk about that or if you ever hear that analogy. Oh, I feel like I've been reborn. Like, that's amazing. It's an amazing feeling. You go be reborn one of these days. It's so awesome. But it's so interesting how you learn these experiences, how you learn these kind of things. I mean, it's interesting for me to even go back and look at where I was emotionally 2 to 3 years ago. Like, I was an emotional mess, guys. You see me right now on Facebook Live, Monday to Friday, every single day, like expressing myself, talking about lessons I'm learning, talking about the failures I'm having in life, the struggles I'm having in life, the triumphs, sharing the lessons that I'm learning with you guys, sharing where I went wrong in the past and where I'm learning to go right in the future, sharing that every single day and basically just like telling you guys everything, being completely open and vulnerable um, about my life. But 2, 3 years ago, there'd be no way that I'd be able to do that. I was always afraid of people judging me. I was always afraid of, what people would think of me. And he like, do you think I do you think I care about what people think about me? Like, I'm on Facebook Live every single day. If you hate me, if you don't like it, like, dude, just delete me on Facebook. I mean, you can't resonate with every single person in the world. You can't please everybody. It's another huge lesson I had to learn, whether I liked it or not, because that's life. I've always been kind of like a people pleaser, I guess you could say. I love to see people smile. I love to see people laugh. I love to see people light up. I love to see that positive energy. I love to see people's minds blown. Like, you ever have that that sudden realization in your life where it's like, wow, like I had been living this way for so long, when the truth is I could be going this way and living completely differently. Or just something happens, or you learn some sort of lesson or something, and it completely changes your life. Like, that's what I love. And so I want to offer that to people. I want to share that with people, because there's things I've had, those kind of realizations. Like, when I talk about, acceptance, when I talk about, figuring out the difference between the things you can change and the things you can't change, I say this with so much enthusiasm, because when I realized this and when I started practicing this on a daily basis, like, completely blew my mind and changed my life overnight. And so that's why we share this kind of stuff. Cam, man, you got anything else to add to that? I was just kind of like, while you were gone, I was just talking about acceptance and how it's changed my life, and how you got to learn these lessons the hard way sometimes.
I like what Hal Elrod said. Did you mention how he said can't change it?
Yeah, that's actually where I pretty much first heard, well, not first heard, but where I really learned to grasp this philosophy of just pure and utter acceptance of life the way it is. And it was Hal Elrod, when he was talking about how you learn that you just can't change some things. And so he would, you learn this in sales. You're in sales, and you learn that, okay, if you get rejected or something, you could beat yourself up for 5 minutes, but after that 5 minutes, you can't change it. You need to move on. And then, slowly he started taking away time. So instead of the 5 minute rule, it became the 5 second rule. It's like, all right, you could bitch and moan and complain for 5 seconds, and then you need to move on. You need to go and do something about it. You need to change it, or just change the way you're thinking about it. Whatever you got to do. If you can't change it, then you can't change it, but you can change your mindset. And that was huge, man. That really woke something up inside me, because I used to just get so upset and frustrated and angry over all these things that I can't change. Cameron will tell you this, like, Cameron, we're late for the gig. Like, Cameron, put your clothes on. Cameron, like, get your drum set in the car. We got to go. We're late for the gig. And I used to get super upset and worked up, like, oh my God, the whole way there, I'm stressing out. I'm just like, oh, what the heck? But like, the stress isn't making me get there any faster. The anger and frustration isn't making it a more enjoyable, quick, easy process that everybody enjoys. No, it's just making me and the people around me miserable. So drop it. Let it go. Stop it. That's all I got.
Agreed. So, did you want to wrap this up, or what are you thinking, man?
Yeah, let's wrap it up, man. I would love to hear your last words on acceptance, man, because this is something that I look up to you, in a sense, in this area, because I know, you do a good job at this. Is when things happen, just, let it go. And move on, towards the direction that you really want to go in, towards the productive direction that you want. So let's hear, Cam, your last words. The pressure's on, bro. Let's hear it.
Everything in your life has happened for a reason. It's the reason you are the person you are. Like, if you didn't go through that awful divorce, or you didn't go through that bad breakup, or you didn't have an abusive parent, or you weren't bullied as a child, you wouldn't be the person you are today. It's awful, but it's true. You might be a completely different person and have a completely different life, and it might even be an awful life. Just realize that everything that happens right now affects the future. So, like, when you went through that bad breakup, that was affecting the future. When you went through the divorce, it was affecting the future. When you got in that car accident, it was affecting the future. But right now, it's not affecting the future. What you do today is affecting the future. So you have the chance. You like it's awesome. You have an opportunity to choose what you want to do right now. And it's amazing, and now really never runs out. You are always living now. You'll always live now. Yesterday was now, tomorrow will be now. And yeah, you always have an opportunity. So I would say make it a habit, dude, to realize, all right, can't change it. Rewire your brain. Make it seem like rewire your brain. Every time I feel a bad emotion, which is rare, I'll tell you that. Every time I feel a bad emotion, I instantly am present. Like I bring myself in the present moment. I start breathing. I start realizing what's actually happening right now. And then I feel happy about things because like stuff breaks, you know? You will trip and fall, like metaphorically. Things will happen. But they all happen for a reason. I truly believe that. In the worst times, it seems to have propelled me upwards even more. It's almost like when you fall, there's a trampoline that brings you even higher. And the harder you fall, the higher you will bounce up. So if you went through the worst experience of your life, like the worst experience, it'll bounce you up the equivalent, but for positive energy. Prime example is like Tony Robbins' childhood, dude. He had an awful childhood, but it propelled him towards so much success. And that's what happens to so many other successful people is they have an awful, hard fall in their life, but that hard fall gives them the energy to bounce back up. And that it goes with everything. So just accept it. Can't change it. What else, bro? Is that it?
It's really that's it, man. It's that simple. This is a superpower, guys. If you learn to truly master this, to accept the things you can't change, you'll feel like you have a superpower because it's the power of having control over your emotions, which is like a crazy thought because our emotions are what, you know, makes us. Our emotions create wars. Our emotions, you know, create marriages. Our emotions create babies. We're such emotional creatures. And when you learn to become the master of your emotions and the master of your mindset and being able to distinguish between the things you can change and the things you can't change and then live accordingly, it's a superpower, guys. And I'm really like, if you guys, I would love to hear some stories. You know what? Message me on Facebook at Bren Dubé or Instagram or whatever. Message us on Implicit Empowerment. Let us know in the comment section. I'd love to hear how you guys use this. What kind of situations you find yourself in where it's like, okay, something's happened, and then it's like, oh no, I can't deal with this, and all of a sudden you're like, wait, okay, there's nothing I can do about it. I can't change it, but I could at least change what it means to me, right? Everything happens for a reason, and that reason is what I decide what that reason is, right? There's not some predetermined, destined reason that this is happening, but I decide what it is. Maybe I decide that there is a predestined meaning for it. I don't know, but this is really about you and your personal experience and what happens, you know, how you could use this in your life, right? So yeah, that's all I got, guys. I really thank you guys for tuning into the show. I love this. Like, I love it. I love getting on here Monday to Friday, interviewing people, just having conversations with my bro, just talking about self-improvement. It's something I'm so passionate about. I'm so happy I get to do this. I'm so grateful for you guys, this computer, this phone, this microphone, like just everything. Thank you.